was thinking as I was biking home from dropping Toby at school yesterday about the comparison, just a thought experiment that, obviously one can't know, but I was thinking about the comparison
I
between...
have bad news for you. That was today.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
You should start over, but I'm gonna mess with your timeline, but I'm telling you the truth.
That was today. Okay. Well, I remember it like it was yesterday.
Wow. Okay, sorry. Gotta start over.
But anyway, I was thinking about the comparison between the response to the pandemic that we saw, which was almost unbelievably top down, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had remote bureaucrats interfering with the relationship between your doctor and your pharmacist,
sure.
Right? Your doctor was not allowed to prescribe certain things, even though under normal circumstances, the doctor can prescribe whatever they want, right? So that's an amazing level of top-down coordination that basically, rendered doctors and pharmacists as automatons in some system that had decided on one path.
Let me say anecdotally that I had a conversation with a doctor whom I trust this week. No, I trust this doctor all the time, but I had the conversation this week, and I was reporting my experience with COVID a couple of weeks ago, and reported that I had gotten a prescription for HCQ, and this doctor whom I trust said, "How did that prescription go through? I can't get it through. I cannot get the prescription put through." And I think I'm not going to explain it here because I think it's probably not safe to do so. And that further tells you what kind of a landscape we're living in. But the idea that a doctor should be asking a patient that, how is it that some other doctor was able to prescribe something completely legitimately when this has always been the purview of doctors. This is, this is one of the things you go to school for, is to gain some autonomy, to have this sort of, this stamp of approval on your forehead that says, you now know enough that we are going to vouch for the fact that you are going to make decisions. And sometimes those decisions will harm people, and overall they will do people good. And you are able to make those decisions for yourself. And this incredibly top-down, and just remarkably across the board authoritarian response took the power away from all of the people who have earned it. And that includes also, of course, the individuals who don't have medical degrees, who wanted to be able to say, continue to take supplements that they had been taking before, the kinds of supplements like NAC that were yanked from shelves.
Right. And what I concluded is that I believe if doctors had been left to their own devices, right, if there had been no overarching public health mandates of any kind at any level, and doctors had done what doctors are trained to do, which is to treat patients that have diseases that they can't be certain of the nature of, and to discover what works, right? Doctors try things. They try things based on the fact that this set of symptoms implies that this system is doing that thing, and these, drugs tend to be helpful in those cases. Doctors would do that. They would discover, as we discovered, ventilators seemed like the thing, right? They weren't, right? Doctors figured that out. But the point is, you would expect a crude initial response to get rapidly better on the basis that doctors are intelligent people who can talk to each other, pool information, and get smarter collectively, rather than have some thing in Washington with unknown allegiances dictating a response and handing it down, and then browbeating and penalizing doctors for departing from it, which is what we saw. And I think, to my way of thinking, it is essentially certain that we would have lost fewer people and we would have had a lot less carnage if doctors had been left to do the thing that they are in general left to do, which is access the pharmacopoeia, among other things, and figure out what works.
And presumably be free to put out their recommendations, which has been noted for many, many months, many, many times now. It is remarkable that there are almost no sets of recommendations for either prophylaxis or treatment for this disease. That's insane. That is insane. There is a set of stamped with the approval of the government and the pharmaceutical companies' vaccines, so-called. And there are a couple of newly generated, again, by the pharmaceutical companies, drugs, and nothing else is officially approved. And that's... There's never been a pathogen in the history of the earth for which nothing else that isn't brand new has worked. And even though it is quite clear at this point that this pathogen was helped in its evolution with humans, that doesn't make it such a new thing that it can only be treated with things that have been created by humans.
Yeah. There's no possibility that you wouldn't find useful things to do. Doctors around the world have come up with different protocols. We've got a bunch of them that work. And the point is you also have a public health apparatus swearing that they don't work, swearing that the doctors who have put these out are cranks. And that's just abnormal and frankly transparent, right? There is some other priority here, right, that involves disrupting normal medicine and, basically setting a precedent for basically allowing your government to stand in for your doctor, which is appalling.